Live. Definitely should be live. We should be live.
Yeah, it looks like it.
Looks like it. Looks like we're back up and running, which is quite nice and quite okay. But I mean, normally we normally go through the biggest story, and unfortunately, Manchester City are the biggest story so far. So let's go. Let's go for the intro. But yeah, everyone, thank you very much for joining our live stream back on Friday Night Counter Attack. Hopefully, we're going to make this more of a consistent thing, having midweek streams and having some of our friends on to chat football, soccer, however you want to call it as well. One of our first guests today, we've got Patrick from the main stand. Patrick, good to have you back, my friend. Besides tonight's result, how are you feeling? How's everything going, Patrick?
Good. Hey, you know what, man? These are midweek games. My club doesn't have to play in the already crowded winter fixtures, so I'm good. Even with the loss, I'm great.
I mean, Patrick is a Manchester City fan for anyone who hasn't seen Patrick on the main stand before. So we're going to start off with obviously, as you know, it's the Carabao Cup third round reaction. We're going to talk to you about the draw later on as well. We're going to go through some of the big results and the big shocks this week going forward. And the biggest shock, I would have to say, is Newcastle United beating Manchester City. So, Patrick, talk us through what happened there with Manchester City and talk us through how Newcastle just seemed to want it a bit more than Man City tonight.
Yeah, dude. I mean, on paper, if you look at the two Man City sides, there was maybe 5-6 guys that you would regularly see in an 11, barring like a fully fit side. And then a lot of it too just had to do with the fact that I think it was a pretty rotated team for City, so the rhythm wasn't necessarily there. I think City are a team that really do rely a lot on rhythm, on playing with the same guys week in, week out. You have a couple of guys coming back from injury that started, namely Kovacic, Jack Grealish, and then Newcastle played a relatively strong side, and I think this tournament's just more important for Newcastle. Winning your
especially
first trophy
especially after being finalists last season as well. The fact that they got all the way to the final and they just lost against Manchester United, which is crazy. So I'm looking forward to seeing what Newcastle can do in this season because they've got the Champions League as well, FA Cup in January, and in the Carabao Cup. That's where they want it. That's where they want it bad, and that's where they were so close last season, barring a Casemiro goal and a Marcus Rashford finish to ruin them, which is quite bad as well. Danny, good to have you on the podcast. Stu, good to have you on the podcast for the first time as well, which is great. We're just going through Manchester City and Newcastle, and Danny, I'll bring you straight in on this one as well. Please. Is this the time where Newcastle United are finally going to get some silverware with Eddie Howe taking the Carabao Cup a lot more seriously than in respect Pep Guardiola did tonight?
No, I don't think so. Like just listening to what Patrick was saying there, I think he's nailed it on the head. I think City have not taken this competition serious enough. I think if Man City have put out any sort of side with a bit more of attacking presence and maybe even a little bit more structure and fluidity that they normally have, then I think Newcastle come away with a loss here and they're out the cup.
I didn't get why they're playing Sergio Gomez on the right wing. It didn't make sense to me personally. It was quite odd.
Yeah,
he's a left back by trade.
That makes two of us.
is a left back by trade, and you're playing him right wing. I'm just like, you've got better right wingers on the bench, and
to be fair, he does play on the wing for Spain's U21 team. That's where he was during Spain's Euro. I think it was the Euro or the World Cup run.
Yeah, the under-21 run.
Yeah,
this summer.
Yeah, I know Newcastle's side wasn't full strength either, but at the same time, I think City look at the treble rather than the quadruple, and I think they look at the three major competitions that they can win, and they go, right, anything outside of that remit, you're gonna make sure that we'll be competitive. I think that City team is still a top 8 team in the Premier League if you let it play season in, season out. But yeah, I think for this they've gone, look, we don't need this competition in the middle of September. Let's refocus and regroup towards the FA Cup and the Champions League, and then we'll win the Prem if it all goes to plan. So, yeah, fair play to Newcastle. But at the end of the day, I think the fourth round is still a very long way away from any sort of success. So, and other teams will tell you that, like, not being funny, is it Exeter that got through to the fourth round?
Biggest shock besides Man City losing. Yeah. That's an amazing game from Exeter City.
Shows the level of quality that is still in the fourth round, and it's not the greatest. So, yeah, I think if you're in it, fantastic. Continue on. I know, obviously, my lovely West Ham, I got myself a win today. But
let's talk about it. West Ham United winning against Lincoln City away. Let's talk about West Ham. They won 1-0. Thomas Tuchel.
It's a weird game. I think, number one, I don't ever want to see Danny Ings in a West Ham shirt again.
That's harsh, man. That's harsh. It's got some form coming back. It's got some form coming.
No, let's hear the reason.
You've got such an excellent talent in Divin Mubama on the bench, yeah.
I thought this was a time, to be fair, to start, not to
if
actually.
If you would have started him, I would have been a lot more happy, and I think we'd have had a lot more attacking presence. I mean, there was that chance in the first half that he missed, and I know he created it for himself, Danny Ings, but he should be putting those away. We played a fairly strong team, and we're only winning 1-0. I know it's away from home, and you've got the home fans all cheering on Lincoln and whatnot. Strong, probably loyal fan base from like a League One, League Two standpoint, but we should be beating these teams 3-4-0. Like we've beaten like all these teams in the Premier League that are in European competitions.
Man United, as always.
Yeah. Man United, we beat Brighton as well, away from home. Other really important
convincingly.
Teams. And then we go and only win 1-0. I don't know if it's a Moyes masterclass in terms of, right, let's get the goal and let's just see it out to 90 minutes. I know we brought on Alvarez just before the goal went in, and I think Mubama was actually on the pitch when the goal went in as well. So
it was a double sub, actually, both at the same time.
So, look, good win. We'll move on to the next round. I'm not entirely sure who we've got next. I don't know if the draw's been done yet. Usually it gets done.
No, that's why I'm doing the live stream, because they're going to do the draw as we speak later on today, which will be later on this evening, I should say, which will be good.
I guarantee you it'll be Man United away.
Old Trafford, as always. You'll win at Old Trafford. It'll be crazy as well. But no, Stu, I'm going to come to you for this one as well, because Arsenal had a very good convincing win against Brentford away from home as well. Reece Nelson with the goal. We don't have any Arsenal fans on the chat today, but I need to ask you. I need to ask you, being a London and Man United fan as well. Are you afraid of Arsenal in this Carabao Cup run? Because Mikel Arteta, he didn't really get it right against Spurs, in my opinion, but he's definitely hunting for some silverware this season. Could the Carabao Cup be his first chance of silverware this season, or not so much?
Yeah, I think they are a growing team. Like, they're still growing, and they're still I feel like they're so close to the level Man City is at. So they keep pushing, and they are a very young team, so they have a lot of prospects in them. So I think I wouldn't say I'm scared, but I know they're going to do well in this competition. But I feel like they may not take it with much seriousness as City have. So I'm thinking if at the end of the day they don't make it maybe in the top, maybe semi-finals or finals, something like that, they won't care that much, because I feel like they still have the league, which they are tighter contenders. They still have the Champions League. I'm not sure if they're going to go really far in the Champions League, but they are one of the best teams. Let's be honest. And then they have the FA as well, which they've won a few times. So obviously they've got that history with them. So I wouldn't say I'm really scared of them, but I think they are here to compete. Obviously, they're a big team, and obviously a lot of people are looking forward to mainly Arsenal fans are looking forward to see them go further, because obviously last season they didn't.
They were trophyless last season. Literally, they were chasing Patrick's Manchester City all year long in the league, and they didn't get anywhere at all, which is crazy.
Yeah.
Patrick, I'm going to come to you for this one as well. Aaron Ramsdale played tonight after David Raya was in goal for the North London derby. Do you see any positives coming out of this from Aaron Ramsdale and being rotated nowadays with David Raya? What's your thought on that? Because Pep Guardiola, as we know, rotates all the time, but never with a goalkeeper. But Mikel Arteta's rotating his goalkeeper. What do you think, Patrick?
I think from an Aaron Ramsdale perspective, when somebody like Raya comes in and they give you real competition, I think it's important for him, kept a clean sheet. I didn't watch the game, but I'd imagine a clean sheet generally coincides with a decent performance. And then also the fact that it was up against Premier League opposition. I think it's got to be a big confidence booster for Ramsdale, and it must make him think anytime Arteta calls on me, I can be that guy. I can fight for my place. I can be Arsenal's number one and continue to be the number one. And it's good to keep a clean sheet after bouncing back from the mistake that he made that was probably part of the reason why he was dropped ahead of the North London derby for Raya. But yeah, it's probably just a solid confidence booster for the guy. A clean sheet's always good.
Yeah, definitely. And Danny, from your coaching perspective as well, how do you see it in terms of two goalkeepers being rotated? You've been a goalkeeper yourself. You've grown up competing as a goalkeeper. what's the mentality like as a goalkeeper? Do you always want to be number one? Do you appreciate a rest? What's your thought process in that point of view?
I've had this debate all week in the office, surrounded by Arsenal fans, and it's the thing I said to someone, and I liked what I said. I'm not trying to be big-headed. I said goalkeepers, although they're the best of friends, they are also the best of enemies. Yeah. So like as a goalkeeper,
like Formula One race drivers, I've heard that as well.
You always want your fellow goalkeepers to do well, but at the end of the day, and I know it's not a little bit as serious as what it is in Premier League football because you're contracted players, but he's taking your limelight. Yeah. If you look at the North London derby. Although Raya had a shocking game for 90% of that game, he's also pulled off one of the best saves I've ever seen live when that cutback with Brennan Johnson at the back post, digging it out with his backhand. So, and you got the Ramsdale clapping scene, and it's a difficult one. I think both goalkeepers will obviously want to be number one. Both goalkeepers have been signed to play a joint switching role position. I just don't know how realistic it is to be able to understand how you can keep that up for a whole season, especially when form comes into play in big games. Is he not going to be able to play the week before a big game? You wouldn't do it in non-league. People at the moment in non-league are going out to lower divisions and getting experience whilst they're injured or whilst other players are filling their positions. Why do you expect Ramsdale and Raya to do it in a Premier League in a club? I can definitely see a bid coming in for Ramsdale in January.
Maybe Chelsea.
I was about to say Chelsea need a goalkeeper. I think that'd be a really good move for him. Or I wouldn't be surprised if a team abroad are looking for an English goalkeeper, just the way they're looking for English centre-backs, just the way they're looking for English wingers. I don't see why the English goalkeeper has been sort of rejected a little bit. But, you look at the goalkeepers we've got, they're not these world-class players. Ramsdale is probably the closest we have to that position as a world-class.
And the most valuable one at the moment in terms of transfer value.
So, but also from an Arsenal fan point of view, obviously not myself, but think of the reaction of when they signed Raya. So not Raya, when they signed Ramsdale. Think of the reaction when Arsenal fans signed Ramsdale.
I remember that. And we remember that on Amazon Prime as well. It was like, oh, why do we need a goalkeeper that's been relegated and every season is played?
Yeah. But a goalkeeper's filled in a position that they needed after Leno's performances, look where that's led Leno to go. Ramsdale was signed alongside Leno to be, we're going to play two number ones and fight for your place. Look where it is now. He's sort of built his name up. Yep, thank you very much. You've got your England caps now. And I think Raya's come in as a better technical goalkeeper. And I don't see why he doesn't stay as his number one goalkeeper. I think Ramsdale should leave Arsenal in the coming future.
Yeah, it's quite crazy because there's so much to talk about. And the last time I can remember something big like this happening in world football was probably when Iker Casillas was in goal for Real Madrid. And then Diego Lopez came in because Mourinho wanted a new goalkeeper. And then Casillas then got forced out for Diego Lopez. And then after a while, they ended up buying Keylor Navas. So in that situation, nobody won because Mourinho left, Casillas left, and Diego Lopez left. So it could be something similar with Mikel Arteta unless he gets this under control. Or unless this is going to be a new innovative way to rest goalkeepers and rotate goalkeepers. I've never been a fan of it, and it's never reassuring as a fan.
Rest goalkeepers. You don't need to rest goalkeepers. Look at the mileage they do compared to a central midfield player. Or if you wanted to rest the goalkeeper, you'd swap them at halftime.
Yeah, it's true.
They can play 90 minutes. If they're getting injured, you need to get back in the gym. You know what I mean? Like get back in the gym, get your fitness up.
Enjoy it. Enjoy having that relaxing time as an Arsenal goalkeeper, but it's not the case. Going on to England's number one goalkeeper, Jordan Pickford's Everton Football Club. They beat Aston Villa away. So Aston Villa are out of the Carabao Cup. Sorry, Salim, if you're watching this as well. But it goes to show that Everton are somewhat on their way back from a very poor start to the season. One at the weekend against Brentford, 3-1 away. 2-1 away here as well. Calvert-Lewin scoring 2 goals in 2 games. Patrick, I'll come to you on this one as well. With Everton Football Club, with the rigid style of play they play under Sean Dyche, is that more or less a breath of fresh air now for Everton that they've got rid of some of their deadwood over the summer? They're looking to try and escape relegation because some of the promoted teams are looking awful these days. But can the Carabao Cup give them some solace, really? Can they have something to look forward to this season, or are they going to get knocked out in the next round to see who they get next? What do you think, Patrick?
I would say yes. Yeah, 100%. I think a club like Everton that's going through what they're going through, getting a win anywhere is huge for the club just moving forward. I think they need to start scoring goals. Scoring 2 tonight is a really big deal. And yeah, a deep Carabao Cup run and staying in the Premier League would probably be considered a success for a lot of Everton fans, given this, awful period the club is in right now. So I wouldn't call Sean Dyche's football a breath of fresh air by any stretch of the imagination, but starting to pick
fresh
up
for
results.
Everton fans. That's all we can say. It's fresh in Merseyside.
Starting to pick up results, I think, is the most important thing. And if Sean Dyche is going to deliver results and get some confidence back in that team and get them winning games and keep them in the Prem and just doing what he can to keep the spirits of the club and the fans up, I think most of it is a success overall. I'd say it's a net positive.
Yeah, I would say so as well. I mean, another positive from another Merseyside club, Liverpool. Stu, I'm coming to you for this one. They won 3-1 tonight against Leicester City. Leicester City, as we all know, back in the Championship after a good 8-9 years in the Premier League, respectively. Gakpo finally scored his first goal in the Carabao Cup this season. Szoboszlai scored an amazing goal for Liverpool, and Diogo Jota scored as well. So some of their replacement wingers for Mohamed Salah, for example, as well, they're kind of turning up now. Can you see... Actually, I'm going to ask you that. I'm going to ask you this. Can you see a definitive front three for Liverpool this season, Stewie, in terms of how they're going to go forward? Because Mohamed Salah is a shoo-in on that right wing, but can you see a shoo-in for their centre forward and their left winger? What's your thoughts, Stewie?
Yeah, that's a tough one because obviously, I don't pay much attention to Liverpool.
I mean, who does, right? Besides Liverpool fans.
But yeah, obviously, I think they still have decent players. Obviously, because Mossad, I don't know if he's gonna stay. But yeah, if it so happens that he leaves, I feel like they'll still find good. Obviously, they've got a good bench. I would say.
That's what Jurgen Klopp does as well, isn't it? He gets these players in, he gets them ready-made. We've seen Firmino go, we've seen Mane go, but I think these players now, like Diaz, is going to be the main replacement for Sadio Mane, respectively. He's going to be the one on the left. Danny, I would say Darwin Núñez is going to be the main man at number 9, but would you say someone like Jota or Cody Gakpo could take over that number 9 position? What do you think, Danny?
I like Jota. I think he's more of a 10. I think he's got to sit behind a big 9 and pick up the scraps. And the same with Gakpo. I think Gakpo is central players and as strong as his wide work ethic and the ability to cut inside. So I think they're still looking for a number 9. Darwin Núñez is showing the form that everyone wanted to see. So I don't see why. Do you know what I mean? Like when West Ham were linked with him, I was a little bit skeptical, and obviously then he goes to Liverpool for that big amount of money. He's got even a larger weight on his shoulders. But if that's going to come through and people can see that and they can play off of him, then they can live happily knowing that maybe Salah can leave freely and they can use that money to build a bigger and better team. I think when Declan Rice left West Ham in the summer, everyone panicked. But if you look at the squad that we've built from the money that we got, a lot of people now are sort of suggesting, although we would have loved to have Declan Rice, we're actually better as a team rather than as an individual on the pitch that can make an influence. So. I think Núñez has got to really step up still because I see Jota as a 10 and I see Gakpo as a 7 or an 11. So,
yeah, it's quite crazy as well. And Patrick, there are talks of Liverpool being back into this title race, and there's this rivalry coming back with Manchester City as well. But as you and I and everyone kind of know, there's never really a rivalry between Liverpool and Man City because out of the last 6 seasons, Man City have won 5 Premier League titles as well. You beat them in most of the home games at the Etihad as well. Are you afraid of Liverpool this season? And if so, why, Patrick?
No, I'm not.
I did think you would.
I don't know. It's tough, man. I said earlier in the season when I was doing the season preview and stuff for the show that I do that I really don't see a world where City win the league by anything less than 10, 15 points. The squad is just so dominant, and Liverpool are great, and I definitely think that they're getting back to where they were in those quote unquote City pool periods. The squad is solid, and I think the midfield rebuild that Dale did is it's good, and the squad is not bad by any stretch of the imagination. But the City team is just so complete, and what Guardiola has that team doing, it's tough to compete with at the end of the day. And I don't see them getting particularly close, but I think they could be in the debate for closest of the rest come May.
Best of the rest, as it were, in the Premier League as well, because it's going to be a tough old league with Manchester City running right. And to be fair, Liverpool are still unbeaten in the Premier League as well, so it goes to show that they've still got something about them this season. A couple of the games we'll talk about from yesterday. Manchester United won 3-0 yesterday. So, Stewie, happy days for us as Man United fans. When am I going to see you at Old Trafford for a game? And also, is this the start of something new for Mason Mount playing as a wide winger for Manchester United?
Danny's shaking his head.
Danny doesn't like Mason Mount. I particularly don't like Mason Mount as well, but I'm trying to look for some optimism into the side.
I don't like him, but I think he is. It's
got something to prove, right?
I think it's gonna be all right. Like, he won't be amazing. Like, he won't have, the Bruno impact. He won't have like, it won't have like that impact that a lot of people, like a lot of great players have had. But I think it will be like a great part of the team. And I can see what Ten Hag is trying to cook. So we'll just wait for what's next.
Danny, what's Ten Hag cooking?
Sancho comes back though, but
what's Ten Hag cooking, Danny? I can see you got your hand up there. What's he cooking?
All right, question for you, Stu, Hans, Patrick as well. Yeah, you're Ten Hag. Yeah, you're the manager of Manchester United. You sit down in the boardroom and they go, right, you've got 70 million Great British pounds to spend on a midfielder. Is Mason Mount the first person that comes to your head?
I'm livid if you bring me Mason Mount for that much money. I'm livid. I'm like, you're setting me up for failure if you're spending that much money on Mason.
You can always go for Kai Havertz. That's all I'm saying. You can always go for Kai Havertz.
Kai Havertz?
Yeah. He was around 60, 70 million pounds.
Chelsea are laughing that they've managed to get that amount of money.
It's like that meme that you saw that I've seen on the internet. It's like a Nigerian man has scammed the Japanese government into buying an airport that doesn't exist. That's what Chelsea did with Mason Mount to Manchester United, a player that doesn't exist anymore, unfortunately. But there is some promise in the.
When did he ever exist? Sorry, Hamza. When did he ever exist?
He existed in that first season, I would say. Actually Thomas Tuchel's first season. Yeah, Derby. I was at the Derby game when he played against Aston Villa and they lost 4-0. So he existed not for a while in that game as well.
Yeah,
so
I think
Jack Grealish got a banger in that game, by the way. Aston Villa.
I think he's been decent for England as well. Like, he hasn't been too bad.
Not been a fan of him for England, to be honest with you. I think he's been the missing player in that England side. I'm pretty sure from Patrick's point of view, last year when we had the World Cup, Patrick, when you saw all the amazing talent we had on the bench, and we bring on Mount first. What was your thoughts on that, Patrick? From an American point of view.
You want a pen. You want a pen, though.
He didn't do anything besides winning the pen in that whole tournament. Embarrassing for Mason Mount.
If I'm Phil Foden, I'm just, I'm beside myself how I can get into this England 11. Like you said, if guys like Mason Mount are getting on the pitch before me, I get Foden hasn't been incredible for England by any stretch of the imagination, and I think he does benefit marginally from the team that City could put around him when he plays. But you look at some of the performances that Foden's put out against top class European teams. You think about the Champions League run in like 2021 when he was putting in man of the match performances against Dortmund and PSG in the span of a couple months each. And he can't get off and Madrid. He can't get off the bench against for England. I had a Mason Mount. I'd be thinking about it.
And to be fair, against Newcastle today as well. So that was quite depressing that he didn't start this game for Phil Foden as well.
I didn't expect him to start, to be fair. I think today was super rotational. I imagine that he plays a part against Wolves at the weekend. But yeah, who knows? There's something going on with Phil. I think there's some work ethic stuff behind the scenes. Guardiola raves pretty highly about him whenever he can talk about him. So I think it's like an attitude thing at this point. It has to be what's keeping him out of the team a lot of the time.
Oh, could it be another João Cancelo thing where he just gets rid of him in January?
I hope not. I really hope not. But if he does, if it happens again that we get rid of a player with a bad attitude in January, you saw what happened after we did that. So
my thing with that is when Jadon Sancho has a bad attitude, it's the manager's fault. But when a Man City player has an attitude, it's the player's fault. And they back the manager,
isn't it? It's
media double standards, I think.
I will agree with that.
Billionaire. And I'm going to put together a team that's going to join Step 7, and it's going to be called Bad Attitude FC. And
Jadon Sancho's captain.
And I'm going to gather everyone who is, I'll have Jesse Lingard in that team.
Jesse Lingard?
Bad attitude. Goes to Nottingham Forest and does nothing for a whole season. Then
Ravel Morrison will be the captain.
Ravel
Morrison will be the captain of that team. Who else?
Carlos Tevez has got to be your assistant manager or something.
In that team. Who else can join the Bad Attitude FC? Come on,
Mario Balotelli.
I was going to say that. Balotelli.
You gotta shout out Cancelo on the wings or the
No,
fullback.
you got to go.
Jack of all
Actually,
trades there.
to be fair, Anthony wouldn't make the bench for your team. To be fair, with the talent you've got, so you got Mason Greenwood, MG is going to be in there. It's going to be crazy.
Let's put Peter Odin Wingy in there as well.
It's crazy. This bad 11 FC. This is the podcast type material we've got to start doing as well. Actually, no, that will change the whole narrative of Friday Night Counter Attack from that point of view. Who else have we got? Who else is a
who was like Dimitri Payet goes in that
Nigel
team.
De Jong midfield for that amazing tackle on Xabi Alonso in the
who is Sol Campbell goes in that team.
How about Wilfred Zaha
from Arsenal to Spurs?
Zaha's a good shout. Always complaining.
Zaha, yeah.
Gotta have Wilfred
Michael
Zaha.
Olise.
No, I don't mind him. He's not as bad as the others.
He's actually nearly stunk over the summer, though, to be saying that. And I think there's always a leaked screenshot that I see.
Can we have Graham Potter as manager as well?
He was texting a girl and he said, "Oh, I don't play for Reading anymore. I'm moving to the Premier League because I don't want to play for this rubbish teams anymore." So.
Oh no, I think that was Olise.
That was Olise, yeah, Michael Olise, yeah.
Ooh, Stewie's in the know. Do you know Michael Olise has scored an amazing free kick last season against Man United, but this season because he's injured, it shows how humbling football is. Really, he was top of the world last season by scoring an amazing free kick against Man United. Didn't celebrate. He's been injured this season, and everyone just forgets about him because he's not at a big club where you see him all the time. He's at a smaller club in Crystal Palace. No disrespect, but everyone forgets about him unless he's done something bad, like we've just spoke about with Danny.
Yeah, I think he was going to move to Chelsea, I think. And then, he extended his contract, obviously. But, he's a good player, to be fair.
Nah, it's not too bad as well.
Can we just quickly talk about the teams in the hat? Because I'm looking at it, and any of those teams would be happy with the results. You've got Burnley, Man United, Ipswich, Middlesbrough, Exeter, Port Vale, Everton, Blackburn.
I need Port Vale at home. I need to Port Vale's around the corner from me. That's all I'm saying.
We need the easy ones.
It will be good. It'll be so good.
I've got it up live, by the way. I'm on my other screen. So
Patrick, I know you need to drop out now. So let me hear your predictions. Who do you think Newcastle United will get in the next round?
Let's see here. I'm gonna say Newcastle get a Premier League draw.
Bournemouth
We're
away.
gonna go. I think they get Burnley at home.
Oh, Vincent Kompany, redemption, revenge.
I think they get Burnley at home, and Kompany finds a way to get his team through to the next round. I think I'm lying there for sure, but I'm gonna believe in my guy.
Nah, it needs to be done. But no, Patrick, I know you have to drop off. So thanks for your time as always. Good to have you back on the podcast.
Thanks so much for having me, Danny,
Anytime.
Stewie. Nice meeting you guys.
Nice meeting you.
This is going to be a good draw.
I'll hold out until the draw because I do really want to see who West Ham get, and then I'm going to give me a shoot. So West Ham are ball number 14.
This is
Man
fun.
United are ball number 4.
It's not even in alphabetical order, which is I don't get that at all.
That is strange. I don't know how they've established which number is which.
Yeah, maybe it's just in terms of when they got drawn, like the games. Yesterday's
It
or
will,
Tuesdays.
it will be Man United at home, West Ham away, on at Old Trafford on a random Wednesday evening. And
we always seem to play each other in cup games, which is insane.
Yeah. It's always in round 4 as well. It's always in I think statistically.
2 years ago, we had you in round 3 at home, and you beat us 1-0. I think
the Payet free kick.
No. There's like a Mark Noble penalty or something like that. I don't know. I know Lingard was. And it was. Do you know what it was? We played you in the Premier League, and Lingard scored the winner, right? And then the next week was the Carabao Cup, and Lingard, Mata, Marshall, they're all playing, and then you had your second team, and then you beat us in that
Here
game.
we go. Ball number 5, Mansfield at home.
Oh, Dan, Mansfield Town. I need to see them have a big game.
Is ball number 7, who are
Port Vale. Why? Why? The two lowest teams so far, besides Exeter, they're against
one of those teams is going to be in the quarterfinals of the EFL Cup.
I wanted Port Vale at home because they would have been round the corner from me, 10 minutes away. Could have watched the game. £10. Jobs are good, but no.
Ipswich at home against 13, who are
Fulham.
So Ipswich at home to Fulham. That's a good draw for Fulham.
Former Man United coach Kieran McKenna, he was under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, Stu, if you remember. Now he's managing his own team.
Ball number 4 at home, Manchester United at home. Guess what's coming?
Let's go.
I guarantee you it's West Ham.
West Ham.
16. Who is 16?
Newcastle United at home. Oh my days. This is fixed. This is fixed.
That's a tough game.
That's a tough game, but we're home. It's a good game. It's a good game to go to as well.
Yeah,
actually.
I think. Yeah.
Who's this?
Yeah, I think
number 8 at home, who are Bournemouth at home, and they will play 15. Who
Liverpool.
Are Liverpool. So Liverpool away to Bournemouth. That should be an easy, straightforward draw.
Yeah, to be fair,
yeah.
They seem to do well at Bournemouth. I recall them having some quite high score lines playing at Bournemouth.
9-0 at home last season in the Premier League as well.
Chelsea at home once again.
Please give them Arsenal. Give them Arsenal, please. I need them to play Arsenal.
Yeah, to be fair.
10. Who is
Blackburn.
Chelsea might actually win their third game of 2023.
The only time they can win games these days, Danny, is crazy. It's absolutely crazy. Gets lower league opposition.
Yeah, West Ham at home, ball number 14.
Ooh.
Go on, give me Arsenal.
11. Who have you got?
Ball number 11.
Arsenal. Oh,
Arsenal. That's a tough.
West Ham at home.
Good ties they are. Good ties. James Ward-Prowse against David Raya. That will be a good battle. Free kick battle. Set piece battle.
He's got it the wrong way around. Ball number 9.
Everton
at home. And I think there's obviously only Exeter left, no?
Exeter. It might be, yeah. Ball number 2.
Exeter are the only ones left. Maybe Middlesbrough.
Exeter, Middlesbrough, and
ball number 1, which is
Burnley.
So that should mean a Middlesbrough versus Exeter last game. Who's going to be the home team?
Exeter will be home.
That's a long journey. Exeter.
That's opposite ends of the country. That's crazy. That's
Exeter
crazy.
In the southwest.
Southwest.
Home. So an away journey for Middlesbrough. Let me see how far that journey is, because that's going to be a killer.
That's absolutely crazy. Let's go through these ties one more time.
So in terms of driving, it's 342 miles between Exeter and Middlesbrough.
And that's just one way. You got a round trip.
Middlesbrough fans are going to be tired the next day. On the train, it says it takes 9 hours on the train.
You're booking the whole week off if you're going as a Middlesbrough fan. I'm telling you.
Oh, sorry, that's because it's overnight. So 6 hours on the train. 6 hours on the train.
Oh my days, that's insane.
So for you to get there for an 8 o'clock kickoff, you would need to get the 11:15 train that morning.
Fun.
I don't think they'll have a big away fan there.
Nah. If they do, they're gonna have to pay the fans to go.
West Ham, Arsenal, Man United, Newcastle.
Bournemouth, Liverpool's a big one as well. Because the way I see it, I think the winner from our tie or the winner from your tie, Danny, will win the Carabao Cup. I'm quite confident in saying that.
You think so? I think Chelsea could pull off a victory here.
Chelsea will beat Blackburn, but I think Chelsea, they will stumble when they've got a bigger team as well. Like Chelsea, when they played today, you're just like, it's a game they should be winning. It's a game at home against Brighton, because Brighton rotated their side quite a lot as well. Second team Brighton isn't a big deal compared to what we've seen recently from first team Brighton. So it goes to show what we kind of have as well. Like Ansu Fati's not really settled in. Mitoma's done very well starting. João Pedro as well, which is crazy. But I'm going to have to look forward to see what Mauricio Pochettino has to do as well, which will be all insane. But yeah, just to wrap up the stream here as well, as we're going to have it's a great stream actually. A good time to have a Carabao Cup draw as well. Everyone, thank you very much for watching. Danny, thanks for joining the podcast as always. Stewie, thanks for your debut today on our stream as well. And hopefully we'll have one next week for the Champions League match day 2 of the season's Champions League, which will be good fun in the group stages. Take care, everyone, and we'll see you later. Goodbye.
Bye.
Nice to meet you.